Hello, ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Con O'Rourke coming to you with another episode of Company of Heroes 2 Fight Night. What we have right here, right now, in here the south, are the yellow-trunked forces of Spander. He is playing OKW, and even though his folks are in yellow, that does not mean they're cowards, folks. In the meantime, up here, we have the Soviet forces of Fortune, and his guys are more appropriately in the red trunks. And as you can see right here, we do see a double conscripts break out from him with those combat engineers, and in the south, we do have Spander deciding to go with, excuse me, two Volks and those Strompios. In the meantime, though, while we do see guys kind of making that standard breakout, we're going to go and check the commanders real quick. So Spander is bringing the breakthrough doctrine for that Jagdtiger. He's bringing the special operations doctrine for that Panzer command tank, as well as infiltration tactic grenades, which are just pretty juicy. And the elite armored doctrine, which has the Sturmtiger, which is oh my god, kind of glorious. Like a mini nuke. Fantastic stuff. Anyway, what do we have in Fortune? Fortune is bringing along tank hunter tactics, so is the PTRS, as well as that little anti-tank bombing run, which I don't really see too very often, I have to admit. He has the guard motor coordination tactics, as we kind of hear a little bit of fire going on in the background. So his T-3485s coming in as opposed to the regular T-34s. And let me tune down this sound just a little bit so we can hear each other a little bit better. And finally, he's got terror tactics. It has that KV-8 as well as that propaganda artillery, which is just kind of amusing when you think about it. Now, if memory serves, this is still not the Shrekless patch. Which is kind of unfortunate because I am totally looking forward to the fact that my very, very treasured Axis forces will no longer have able to Shrek blob moving all over the map. Not that it's done me any good in the past already. But perhaps we should focus on more immediate things. We do see that this one squad of conscripts is getting a little bit beat up. At the same time, fortunately, this first squad of Volksgrenadiers. And here's kind of a miniature problem. Not so much for the Germans necessarily, but for the Russians, because the Russians themselves, as soon as the MP40s were coming in, you see these guys probably drop at least one more model, maybe? No, wow, no other models drop, I guess because they're not concentrating any firepower on them. But you'll see Fortune doing something very unique right there, guys. With German forces early on, especially because of packing a K98 as opposed to the most in the Gans, the conscripts, you will see a lot of German forces pretty much get owned at the very, very close ranges. This is due to the fact that K98s were much better at a medium to long range as opposed to the most in the guns, which are more cheaply made, and it gets reflected in the game as being better close up, at least comparatively. Do you see Spander already right now also bringing out a SWS? My guess is going to be calling a battle group headquarters to have the whole healing. And something to watch out for as we move forward in this particular evolution is that the medics from the battle group headquarters are no longer going to be free. They're going to be a pay-to-play upgrade, so it's 100 manpower and 15 fuel. I don't know exactly when that's coming in. I do know that's in the patch notes. But it's just going to give you guys a heads up ahead of time for all you OKW players out there. And surprisingly enough, we do see these conscripts forced away by the MP40s and the Strompios, but it's probably because of these window counts between the two. But while the Germans are now taking over this second VP. Let's just pull the strategic map real quick and kind of see what's going on right now. Just a macro sense. We're probably already going to see, let me just take a quick look. Do we have a second tech structure? No, we do not. Surprisingly enough, Fortune has not gone for another tech structure, but he has gotten the medics start healing up some of those troops, which are pretty beat up. But while he's healing, you do see a lot of these forces from the Germans are starting to move forward. I am surprised, unfortunately, to see that this SWS is not started changing out. This is definitely an oversight on multiple levels here. We do see Spander has actually also gone for that breakthrough doctrine, so he's bringing in the Sturmoffizier, which can be sometimes very much a glass cannon opportunity. As you can see down here, he's got to target them, which is great. It actually allows things to go much easier and also forces things to fall back. At the same time, if this guy dies, it forces all the squads near him to retreat, or rather, at least his squad to retreat. Forgive me sometimes, guys, I don't use it very often, so I could not tell you with 100% accuracy if it forces other squads in the area to retreat. And it turns out, surprisingly enough, Spander is neglecting to go for battle group headquarters. He's instead going to go for the mechanized regiment, which I don't agree with. Especially the fact that his conscripts right now are doing a pretty fair amount of hurt. And he actually is being targeted right now by that target them, which is going to make his guys much easier to kill. At the same time, though, do they actually have... No, I don't think they have those commands yet. We do finally see a Tech 2 coming up from Fortune, as well as his other troops kind of coming down the center of this map. But I'm a little bit concerned right now with how low health that particular headquarters is, and I'm not seeing the Sturmpires move in at all to kind of pick that up. In fact, I see the Sturmpires just kind of chilling over here to the eastern side, while they are definitely locking down that eastern fuel. It might be better for them to be a little more mobile, and we finally do see them being more mobile to pick up the strategic point, even as the conscripts move in to pick up a standby fighting position. We're going to see something that I really like doing, seeing rather, with Fortune, is that Fortune starts overloading a lot. He does a lot of massive numerical advantages, which is pretty much how you have to play the early Russians when you think about it. We might even see a lucky... No, we're not going to see a lucky squad go down. We are going to see another squad fall back, as well as these Panzer Fusiliers moving in and getting the upgrade with the G43s. But here's something, another thing too, and this is something that Fortune actually just put a video out, and I guess that's the answer right there. The Sturmoffizier, first of all, the Sturmoffizier, if he dies, apparently it forces his entire squad and other squads in the area to retreat. When you think about it, the loss of morale would be kind of deadly. At the same time, though, you also going to see Fortune was doing something that's very, very unique that a lot of lower tier players don't necessarily understand. Cover is unidirectional. I don't care if you have the best cover in the world behind this truck. If someone starts shooting you from this direction as opposed to this direction, you're going to get hurt a lot more. That's just pure and simple. That's a problem. We are going to see Spander moving out with Panzer II, and I wonder if we're going to start seeing, yep, there is the Tankovy Battalion Command coming out from Fortune. So I might see a little bit of a belated Zisgun, especially with these other forces trying to heal back up, or at least missing a couple models here and there. But once again, you see Fortune moving right around, happy to take the HP damage if he can just overload and just start unleashing on these particular German forces. And right now you see 4 squads taking on 1, and that kind of concentration of power will pay dividends later on. Although, as of right now, you do see him kind of forced back across the map. 8 minutes into this game, 7.5 minutes into this game, 468 to 435, a 2-to-1 cap advantage. But we do see now he has picked up that eastern fuel point, but that may not go particularly well with the Panzer II moving in. At the same time, we do see tank hunter tactics, so it'd be kind of interesting to see the anti-tank grenade assault. I admit, I don't see that very often. I actually don't see this particular commander played very often. So it'll be very interesting to see how that kind of works out. He's moving over to the eastern side. Maybe start picking on other conscript squads. I'm not entirely sure. Oh no, he's just going to try to take out some of these not shot blockers, mobility blockers, let's say. Probably targeting this the sandbag fighting position right here. And while these Volksgrenadiers are going to start firing on the combat engineers, a surprisingly good position. We are also going to see this Panzer II as well as G43 is probably going to put a fair amount of hurt on these conscripts. Just kind of outgunned right now, but you do see 2 PTRSs on the field, and that is going to represent quite a fair amount of danger for the early Axis armor. I admit I would like to see Spander move out with a bringing actually his battle group headquarters in, but we do actually finally see him start repairing his mechanized regiment headquarters, which is always a good idea. And in the center of the field, we do see actually Spander concentrating his fire against that kind of very, very lone Maxim squad as it kind of pulls back into home base. Now, here's something I don't necessarily agree with, is that this Panzer II has been far too aggressive, and he's going down to about, what, maybe 20% health, 15% health? That Zisgun was definitely a nasty surprise. I think he thought all he had to deal with was just a couple PTRSs, which, even against the early, like I said, against that early armor, is still quite deadly. And we're going to see that kind of forced to retreat quite a ways. And what that kind of points out at the same time, guys, and this is something I need to kind of mention a lot more in these videos, I have to assume, is that it doesn't matter how powerful your vehicles are, this entire game is supposed to be combined armed tactics. Do not think that there's any one single tank or some, any unit that can handle the battlefield on its own. That's going to be more and more apparent as the game goes further and further. And here comes another SWS coming out for Spander, and we're hopefully going to now see that battle group headquarters come down. And actually, if you guys can tick on the strategic map as Fortune puts in his first Oh my gosh, is that a T-70? I can never remember which one that is. But let's just click on the strategic map real quick. I'm going to take a quick sip of my drink. We'll be right back to cast some more for you guys. 1 second. We do see, by the way, that Strum officer has been forced back one more time. And it looks like he's dropped the officer again. So even though he retreats, he just still loses that officer. It's not a particularly good idea, apparently, to be on the front lines. Actually makes me think very much of The Great Escape. You know, one mistake and zip to the Russian front with him. And unfortunately, at the same time, though, this Panzer II is definitely taking a fair amount of heat. And there is that T-70. I was right at that particular delineation here. And these Germans might want to get out of this house. Ooh, and they do make it out of the garrison just in time. Just a sliver of health left on that garrison. And wow, maybe one more shot. Oof, 2 shots, and that T-70 just roasts those Volksgrenadiers. It's rough. And we're going to see those, we're going to see the conscripts move in now to pick up that Panzer truck, which would be quite an issue for the Panzer II. So even if he starts beating on this T-70, yeah, you can see that one Panzer truck hit. It's going to force that guy away one more time. Shifting over here to the western side, we see these Maxims are, this one Maxim rather, is definitely pouring on some fire against the Volksgrenadiers. Might even lead to another squad wipe. Surprisingly enough, no. I'm not sure I definitely necessarily agree with this T-70 being pulled in right now. In fact, I'm surprised that Spander has not picked up a Rakettenwerfer or something to combat this T-70. He's got the manpower for it, and heck, he's got the fuel to pick up another, both to pick up another Panzer II, or even something maybe go a little more hardcore and go for the Puma. I don't know, maybe a good idea. But that's not going to do him much good at the moment, because now we do see this gun is bunkered up over here. The combat engineers moving in to repair the T-70. And do we see a tech structure going up again? No, we don't, but we do see a mortar crew coming in for Fortune. And a Stuka-Sufus coming in for Spander, so we're going to see some very, very deadly indirect fire. I am also surprised to notice that there hasn't been a whole lot of mine play so far in this particular map. Fortune definitely has a great penchant, let's say, for placing down mines. He's got almost like a instinctive idea of when and where to use all of that. Oh, good lord. And that Panzer II comes back in to just shred that western conscript squad. The eastern one slides back into cover and says, hey, bro, you got this? We got this. And here come the PTRSs pinging some shots off that Panzer II. Surprising enough, here comes the Zisgun finally. So we're going to have this poor conscript squad take a lot of fire and maybe, just maybe, have the Zisgun take a shot, a single shot. Oh, no, never mind. He pulls back out of range just before that happens. And we see the PM-41 mortar does get into the fray. And even more interesting enough, this Panzer Fusiliers are just going to chill up here at the same time too, considering, you know, screw it, we don't worry about that T-70. And now we understand why it is more of an issue. We're also going to see this Panzer truck moving on the side again, trying to put some hurt on this T-70. And I might be wrong, but the T-70 seems to be much more armored, well, better armored, let's say, than its German counterpart, its German tier counterpart. Because, good lord, they're just chasing guys away without really any kind of care. Once again, another officer gets picked off. Definitely, guys, showing why that officer is sometimes way more of a liability than an asset on this kind of map. And where are those? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So the Stuka-Sufus gets a lot of hurt early on. Takes out a couple of models for those combat engineers. We are going to see him finally placing down a mine, if on it looks like. Oh, no. No. Instead, we got ourselves a little bit of a booby trap going on here. And we also see that it's probably not the best idea to charge into the teeth of these 2-centimeter flak emplacements or the Panzer II right now with a much more minimally healthed T-70. Do we see, again, where is that tech structure coming up for Fortune? He's floating a fair bit of manpower, maybe not a ton of it necessarily, but still floating a bit, and he's definitely behind in the in the army supply right now. But you cannot fault the fact that his map control is much better than Spander. So he's got Spander pretty much, not so much isolated, it's kind of almost a 50-50 map. But this first natural expansion point for Spander is decapped, and that's going to be quite an issue. But here comes Spanders now, is bringing out his final SWS, which means here's the question, is really, where's he going to put that Schwerpanzer headquarters? Well, it's easy to see who's going to put that Panzer II. The Panzer II is just coming up right over here at the same time. That, like, autocannon just wrecking those poor conscripts. Probably a good idea for them to retreat before they get picked off. And, yeah, wow, that thing is just way too accurate. I think they might have to nerf that at some point. But right now, what is that 2-star? Yeah, never mind, the main gun accuracy, that's why. So Fortune is chased off again off this part of the map. And forgive me, guys, if you hear barking in the background. That's my fearsome guard dog making sure to tell me if there is someone here. But that's neither here nor there. So almost 16 minutes gone in a particular game. 440 to 325 is a 1-to-1 cap right now, but we are going to see another drop coming out for a 2-to-1 cap pretty easily. And I wonder if this T-70 is going to pick up this squad right here, or is just going to detonate this right now? Yes. Wow. Pops that trap right there in the middle, takes out the Sturmwaffenzieher, puts Spander back onto 3 squads and 2 vehicles. Brutal right now, and even this Schwerpanzer headquarters right here to control the center part of this map is not going to control this VP. And he's really kind of wasting a lot of the destructive potential right now for this building placement. Even more embarrassing now is to see that Spander has dropped his Panzer II. And kind of a very, very missed micro opportunity. He definitely was just a little bit more focused on retreating, or actually using that Stukas and even just scraps. No, wasn't even scrapped. He just lost it all the way out. That's going to hurt him quite a bit. And next, the Panzer Fusiliers are getting forced into a retreat as well. Everything's not going well for Spander. It is 17 minutes into the game, and although things are even in terms of just how do I put this? In terms of the captured points, his army's in shambles. And of course, you see another call in right now for this Panzer Fusiliers being called in. So we're going to see these conscripts shifting back in just a second. We don't want to lose those full red squads. And with the PTRSs, though, at the same time, the Strom IOs, are wisely shift back to their home base. So while troops are getting called in for Spander, surprisingly enough, he even canceled his anti-tank gun to do it. Oof, wow, I didn't realize sometimes that thing actually has a decent range. That flak emplacement can be quite hurt, and put a lot of hurt onto this particular mechanized regiment headquarters. But these PTRSs are still doing a fair amount of work on this. Do they finally have grenades? Oh no, we're also going to see another tech structure come out as well. The Mechanized Opera Compania comes out for Fortune, which means that he's going to be working his way towards probably a T-34, if I had to guess. I might be wrong, though. But surprisingly enough, he's still not gone for Molotovs or anti-tanks. Maybe not the latter. The latter is a little more explained by the fact that the passive anti-tank grenade assault already. And we are going to see that this German blob is going to move forward here. 2 Volksgrenadiers, 2 Panzer Fusiliers, and it looks like they're going to come forward and not stop until they've probably controlled the center part of this map one more time. Problem for them is a full vetted up T-70 is still over here, and a single Panzer Schreck and, let's say, disposable Panzerfaust may not be enough to push it away. And finally, Spander does decide to call himself in a Puma, which might be, in my mind, a little bit too late. Should have called in a fair bit of time ago. Would not have been the best opportunity to take care of all the Soviet infantry. But at the same time, that T-70 with the Ziscon was going to outgun his Panzer II every day of the week and twice on Saturday. So while the T-70 right now is, honestly, wrecking face, 21 kills, 22 kills, it fires and it just pretty much hits anything it aims at. We are going to see finally the Puma coming in. And where is that Puma right now? It is rushing towards the front, and you can see it already. One shot takes us down to about 20% health. It was a little bit wounded, I admit. But still, probably see this T-70 go down. Yep, there's one hit. It goes down. And does this gun? No, this gun does not pick up the Puma. So see already, 30 seconds into its call-in, and the Puma is already doing work. But now we see another shot coming in from that Stukas, and the question really is he going to call it in right? And surprisingly enough, he does pretty well with that. Doesn't pick any models up. Honestly, if it wasn't for the quick thinking of Fortune, he would have lost a lot more models. All the same, it's a 20 minutes fall away from this game, 440 to 323. To take a quick look actually at the bulletins. For Spander, we do have increased accuracy in the Volksgrenadiers. The Sturmoffizier has his buff by increased by 2% for nearby accuracy, and the Panzer Force have 5% increased armor penetration. Surprisingly enough, though, he has not had the opportunity to invest in that particular, let's say, upgrade, but that is kind of a function of the map. We are going to see a T-34 coming out from Fortune, and we also see a mine detected. Where's that mine being detected? Over here on the eastern side? Yes, it is. The TN-35 is going to get picked up pretty quick as I cap out that fuel point one more time. But although this mass moves into the middle, here comes that 3476. I'm going to note, by the way, too, the T-34 is going to get a slight buff in the next couple of patches. They felt that its anti-infantry ability was not as effective as it should have been. At the same time, you're going to see it right now. It's pretty lame, I will admit that. So they're going to increase the firepower for its machine gun and increase the accuracy, I think, for the machine gun for both the hull and the coax on the tank. But at the same time, it is lucky to see that it is still unable to shoot infantry with a main cannon, luckily for the Soviets. One thing I'm surprised to see, actually, is that Fortune has not been using a lot of Ziscum barrages. I guess it's kind of understandable, but even right now, he's trying to sprint in and pick up that strategic point again, forcing those Germans back away. And with the army size disparity, he's calling it a T-70 right now, I think, actually, which is probably a good call to pick on that German infantry a lot more, while the T-34 is there just to deal with the Puma. At the same time, that Stuka Sufus is going to be calling in right again, and my guess is right about here. Yes, there is. Those rockets come in, but they don't hit squat. I don't think they really did any health damage either. And just while we see Fortune take a capping lead, 2-1, still behind quite a bit in its, let's say, tickets right now. He is certainly in a much better army position. If I had to pick between the two, I'd have to go with him. We are going to see another officer, a Sturmoffizier, getting called in by Spander. But, one awkward shot from a T-70, and we're going to have quite an issue, my friends. Quite an issue. Oof, this T-70 might want to back off a little bit before the Puma charges in. Here comes the Puma charging in one more time. And here it is. He gets suckered in. That's actually very well done. That's a very interesting ambush. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off quite as much as easily as he was going to hope. And while we see this mortar over here in the center of the map taking fire in that excellent cover right now, I should be able actually to see the bombarding area. So we see him drop, of course, another model on those enemy Volksgrenadiers, and one more shell's going to come in and probably rock and sock, probably take down at least one more model, if not two. No, okay, one model, another one gets picked up by a freak Panzerschreck. And actually, another thing to note, too, is the Panzerschrecks, anti-tank vehicles overall, are going to take a accuracy decrease when firing on infantry, just to kind of give you an idea about how those Schreck blobs are no longer going to be quite as effective anti-infantry as they are now. But 23 minutes, 23:40, 23:43 going into this game, 4:04 to 3:19, we are going to see this center point go back to Fortune yet again. With unfortunate Puma definitely outgunned, and a Katyusha coming out for Fortune. So the indirect fire game is definitely heating up. And I don't know if I want to give the advantage to one side or the other right now. And this time he finally guesses right with that Stuka Sufus barrage and hammers one squad. That's not going to be forced back with just two models left. Once more, though, we already see this Volks blob moving forward. This is actually a Fusilier blob, excuse me, and with the Volks behind it. With the Katyusha on the field, we're going to see probably a very quick barrage, and considering how close it is to the center part of the map, it's going to be a fearsomely accurate barrage. Fearsomely accurate. My guess is maybe a T-76 are going to move in and fire on them, and the combat engineers are going to get lost. Yep, there they go. How interesting. Okay, I think he would have been a lot more interesting to see whatever would have happened had... Oh, never mind, I take that back. Actually, say having to wait until that, those Germans had retreated, but even then, even as I say that, they kind of, you know, do things pretty well. And what the heck is that salvage kit? Okay, wow, actually, I don't see that particular icon too often, mostly because you don't generally see the Russians having to salvage. But as you guys kind of saw in the middle of the map, we do see, first of all, AT grenades finally being researched for Fortune. And we also see both the Puma as well as the T-70 getting picked up, but it's definitely more of a loss for Spander on that one as well. I am surprised to see that the Schwerpanzer headquarters has not been called back in for Spander. Maybe what he's doing right now is waiting to get some more manpower and kind of slowly work his way up to that Jagdtiger. I'm not sure it's really the best idea. Ah, but here comes an AT grenade. We see an AT grenade like the AT assault. It's 25. Yep, there we go. And we're going to see that half track, surprisingly enough, actually not go down. How curious. But interesting enough, I can see this whole little anti-tank bomb run. Which honestly, really, again, I haven't seen that often. So I'm actually kind of depressed by how inefficient that was in terms of the munitions expended on it. But okay. 26 minutes off the clock. We are going to see Spander finally picking up a VP again, but even at this point, we are going to see the tickets are almost even. And even as Spander officially takes over the point, he is still going to be taking ticket losses. And unfortunately for Fortune, though, he does notice the Katyusha barrage and backs off before anything can really happen from it. Kind of wondering right now, it might be a good idea to see a lot more concentration faced on this mechanized regiment headquarters. Here comes a Panzer Schreck armed squad. As well, the PTRS is, oh my gosh, gonna pick up the supply truck. That'd be quite a vicious pickup. And no, instead they are going to kind of just flanking around to pick up this mechanized regiment headquarters. But I'm not sure he's got the firepower to take that out right now. As we see gouts of earth fly up in every direction instead. Fortune, though, is not giving up on that T-70. He's calling in another one, folks. Even as is the combat engineers, excuse me, Spander's Strumpile, I got that a little confused for a second. I'm going to start repairing this mechanized regiment headquarters one more time. I am actually very surprised that Fortune didn't just focus a little bit more attention on this SWS. All the same, we're going to see this fully vetted up squad of Panzer Fusiliers being totally and completely surrounded. I'm not sure that these guys over here to the east are going to be able to protect him. Although it does seem they actually are able to force away a T-34. It might even be able to pick it up. That could be kind of, that'd be quite a good hit, quite a nice pickup. And there it is. I am surprised to see that. Nice dive, I have to say then. That was very well done. We are going to see some friendly fire happening over here from both the T-70 as well as that mortar, but we are going to see fully vetted squads of Volksgrenadiers forced away. And those Panzer Treks are still firing on the wrong target. And that T-70 now has, what, shown up and popped, what, only one kill. But but already we see Katyusha come in as well at the same time to pick up another squad of Volksgrenadiers. And this other one might even retreat back into it for that final rockets. Are they coming in? Will that pick them up? No, it doesn't. It does not. They might even get away with one model left. Yes, they are. That was surprisingly enough. And although that T-70 goes down at the same time too, so not a ton of preservation when it comes to armored vehicles in this particular map. I will say that Fortune's infantry durability has been a lot more impressive. And we actually are going to see the salvage crew come in. At the same time, what are they picking it back up? How much they get? Can I tell me? He's not going to tell me. The Sturmbannoffizier coming in as well to kind of try to pick on that one lone combat engineer. You know, I'd have to tip my hat to this officer. This guy's been just, his brethren have just been beaten up the entire game. And although, surprisingly enough, he's actually alive to retreat this time. We do see these Panzer Fusiliers moving at the same time, trying to pick up the center point one more time. But I'm not sure they can stand against 4 squads of conscripts. And another Ura is popped to kind of run behind this cover right over here, I think. Oh no, is he even diving? He's diving for that. He is diving for that Stuka and his little bit of a consolation prize over here is just going to pick up the strategic point instead. We are going to notice the fact that Schwerpanzer headquarters is going to go down finally unmolested on the eastern side over here, going to control that eastern point. So short of a very, very vicious and determined armored assault, he might be okay to basically control that. And wisely, Fortune finds himself in range of those base flak emplacements and pulls himself away before anything more definitive can happen to him. Whew. Rough game indeed. Oh, we're going to see an Su-85 pop for Fortune. And as we take another look at the strategic map, guys, give me one more second to kind of get myself something to wet my whistle. And we'll return to the action in just a second. Okay. It is good to note right now that if Spander does pick up this western side, he will theoretically control both fuels, but right now with the excellent decap out of Fortune a couple seconds ago, he's got western territories completely out of supply, and they'll continue to be out of supply with that Verkettenwerfer just kind of runs forward to handle more secondary roles. Never mind though, there goes that T-34 to chase off those Sturmpajos, and although the troops are in the middle part of the field, well, I'm just waiting for them to charge forward and get picked up by this explosive device here. 3, 2, 1, and boom. Boom. No boom. I am intensely surprised to see there's no big boom going on right here. Maybe they're trying to force him into retreat again. I don't know. They've been quite a pickup to pick up a 4-star squad from the OKW. Oof, never mind. I take that back. Here we go, and boom. 2 squads go down again. I have to... My apologies, Fortune. You were right. I was wrong. And although you might drop this combat engineer squad over here, yes, he does. He still comes out ahead quite a bit. Although this Su-85 showing its heels to this Verkettenwerfer might be quite an issue. And here comes this... here comes that anti-tank bombing run. And I didn't realize how much was going to shred infantry squads. Good lord. He picks up the Panzer, good lord. The Verkettenwerfer. And does force away another squad of Volksgrenadiers. So as well as Spander was doing to get himself back into this game, getting that SWS finally down on one side, calling in a fair amount of off-map material, 2 strong plays out of Fortune and a couple of rolls of the dice, and Fortune's right back in this. I'm surprised actually to see that he hasn't already rushed another combat engineer back up here to drop another one of those. What are they called? No, I can never think what they're called, guys. Please forgive me. But bringing in those traps. And what is going on over here? Where's that fire going? Oh, okay, we are going to see the Su-85 taking some fire from the Schwerpanzer headquarters. And surprisingly enough, that 3-inch mount is going to be more than enough to chase that thing away ever so slightly. That said, that Zisgun, as well as that mortar, are going to put quite a dent into that very, very sturdy truck. And I'm not sure that these German forces over here are going to be able to effectively chase off. Maybe they are. Maybe for the time being they are going to be enough to chase them off. T-70 is going to very bravely run in and discover that he really should have stayed in bed back at home. And where is that Katyusha? The Katyusha is not doing a whole lot right now. My guess is maybe he might drop another barrage back over here. Try to anticipate things a little bit for them. Maybe not. However, in the middle we're going to see a Molotov cocktail being dropped over here in the center part of the map. As well as that T-70 rush in fearsomely, trying to protect its noble comrades. Unfortunately for him, that Panzer IV knows where he is as well. And with the addition of the Panzerschreck, it'd be quite a fair amount of damage done to that very, very plucky T-70. Unfortunately for Spander, this actually has a lot of micro opportunities that are going to allow Fortune to kind of pick what he wants to save. In this particular case, he's able to save a squad of Panzer Fusiliers, a full vet squad, but for exchange, he's going to drop his Panzer IV. And although he does pick up a T-34 in the aftermath of that, Fortune is still in a much better position, even with the map pretty blue right now. It's feeling kind of depressed. But you have to tip your hat to both players for both the not so much the split-second decisions, because there were not a lot there, but to Spander for being aggressive enough to actually chase down that T-70. Even though he didn't quite grab it, at least he was very, very aggressive about it. Unfortunately for him, that T-34 was much more durable and definitely had the support to kind of make the difference. We're going to see the Strom pilots as well kind of force back, and we notice that being in the, let's say, the construction core for either group is probably not the most healthy of decisions in this particular one. Actually, if you think about it, from a Star Trek perspective, every single engineering squad is practically a red shirt, and that's being shown full right through here. And if these guys aren't careful, we are going to see a death to, yep, there we go, the Schwerpanzer headquarters does go down. And that's the second time that Spander has lost his Schwerpanzer headquarters. One time it wasn't fully completed, I will give you that. But to lose a second one is quite an investment of fuel that gets dropped. And although he might pick up the Zis gun and wipe out a one-star vet squad, he is going to pay his weight. His pound of flesh is definitely going to be taken from him, let's put it that way. Yeah, yowza. Right now, guys, we have ourselves a little bit of a cauldron battle. The very, very brave German forces were ordered to, in their own little personal Stalingrad, completely cut off. We're probably going to see at least one of these squads drop. If this one model squad does not drop, there we go, finally. So now he loses himself a full vet squad, and although this Stukas of Fus has definitely put some hurt on the combat engineers, he's still in somewhat of a precarious position. Another model gets dropped from that, and luckily enough for the final one, he does make it out alive. 237 to 319, we are going to see more of a drain continuing to happen on the part of Fortune, and although he's going to drop this eastern fuel point, in fact he's going to drop it to the eastern side of the map, he's in a very, very good position. The Su-85 as well as the T-34 coming out to kind of run interference for the Katyusha. And the Katyusha, it's got 12 kills already, almost to that first vet star. And what is this? Creeping barrage. Ooh. Where is that creeping? Aha. So he's just going to make sure that this eastern fuel point does not get capped out, which is probably a good plan. Unfortunately, now that I think about it, for Spander, his eastern part of the map has been completely opened up now. Even with the addition of a Puma to his forces, he is still massively outgunned. 51 to 71 army supply, and 224 to 319 in terms of tickets. And where is anything else coming out right now? No, we just see pretty much all of Spender's forces over here in the east. And it's kind of hard to blame him on that one as well. It's just the very, very brave Stukas of Fus moving up. Not sure I agree with being this aggressive with him. But perhaps that's what needs to happen. We are going to see, and is this another explosive trap? Oh, good lord. Yep, this is. And another squad gets dropped, just evaporates. And guys, this has just been, the straw has been breaking the camel's back the entire game so far. There we go. I was trying to figure out where those rockets were going to come. And we do see that one Zis gun does get picked up, which allows this Puma to very, very fiercely charge forward, and this T-34 to very, very foolishly decide to go in the wrong direction. But it seems that even smoke will not deter this T-34, and we will see him pick up this Puma as well, which leaves Spander in a very, very nasty position, with his vetted squads dying one by one, and his vehicle is pretty much getting lost almost as soon as they come out on the map. You're also going to see now another squad of conscripts shifting forward to start putting fire on this PTRS, what the PTRS is on the Mechanized Regiment headquarters. And I kind of wonder how effective using the Molotovs or the anti-tank barrage might be. Probably not very, because I mean, technically it's a building now. But, you know, I would think that the truck, even a truck as well bunkered, as this might not be able to really kind of handle things. And I could have sworn I just heard rockets come in, but I guess I was just a little bit fooled by that one. It does look like what happened is that we do see Fortune very, very fearlessly allowing his Katyusha to take some fire as a means of drawing in enemy infantry. Very brave, if nothing else. And we are going to see these Panzer Fusiliers pick up the G-43s, but just as quickly getting forced right back to from whence they came. There we go. We're going to see a barrage coming out and heading west. Yes, guys, that is on Shag Highway heading west. Unfortunately for him, he only manages to decrew that mortar. And even though we're probably going to see a rifle grenade coming out here, we are also going to see this T-34 try to crush and hopefully, yep, fails miserably. Does not make any kind of German potato pancakes, if you know what I mean. And guys, if you don't know what a potato pancake is, I definitely advise you try one of those out. Or just, you know, have a latke. It should make it thinner. But anyway, let's get back to the game, shall we? 41 minutes in, 191 for 319, we do see a 2-to-1 cap in favor of Fortune, and he's not really concerned about the eastern part of this map. And can you blame him? Right now he's got 4 fully vetted squads. He's got 4 vehicles, doing, you know, 1 indirect fire. He's got another indirect fire squad right here. And although his pacing of vehicles is not the best, we have to note that he's been able to continually pump out vehicles. And I wonder now if finally Spander might wait long enough to pick up the Yagti, guys. You can see 720 to 280 is a very, very hefty price. That's like be in for at least another 2 minutes anyway. But that would require Spander to not drop squads at an alarming rate. And honestly, I hate to say it as harshly as this, but that might be kind of a difficult prospect. We're going to see another Raketenwerfer come in and boldly go where no anti-tank weapon has gone before, which is to say, namely the front lines. And finally, we do actually see those Sturmpyros actually pull themselves a mine-sweeping device just in time for this TM-35, and just in time for their friends to kind of curve behind these combat engineers and to pop, lock, and drop some of those Soviet engineers. I am surprised to see we have not getting a barrage coming in from the Katyusha. Huh. Very surprising indeed. And although the T-70 does go down to very, very intelligent Panzerschrecks, oof. We are also going to see this Raketenwerfer go down, as well as that Volksgrenadier squad, that the one that had just taken out the T-70. Yep, and there goes the Raketenwerfer, and bringing it so close to the Mechanized Regiment headquarters. Kind of wonder if they won't just... Oh no, they're not even going to bother trying to pick it back up. I would have thought they would do that. They thought it would be a very intelligent opportunity. But alright, 160 to 319. 44 minutes into this game, we are going to see Fortune picking up the eastern point. And I'm surprised he's not picking up this middle point as well, but he might be a little more focused on right now just removing all of these anti-armor possibilities. Aha, and that's where these barrages are going. It's right back in the middle of this base. Max range material, it's not going to be too accurate, and as you can see, it only picks like a model or two. That's only a tiny bit of damage to both flak emplacements as well as to the battle group headquarters. And what might happen right now is you might see a counter barrage coming out from the Stuka-Zefus. The question is really, oh no, maybe he's just going to aim at this area right over here, which might not be a bad idea either. Looking to pick on that mortar, but doesn't drop a single model. Not a single model. And, jeez. Spander's just not having a whole lot of luck with his anti-tank, let's say, lifespans. Is that a good way to put it? Wow. But we are going to see these Panther Fusiliers shifting in to pick up this Rakettenwerfer. We are also going to notice that it's 36 to 78 as well as 156 to 307. And Spander does have control of a second VP, but that's dying as we speak. And with a second Katyusha coming on the field, there's going to be no place to run and no place to hide for Spander anywhere. Trying to think about what he could have done a little bit differently in this particular map. Honestly, in my mind, I think what really kind of lost a lot of the early game pressure for him was putting all of his stock into that single Panther 2. And when he kind of was going to get beat up on by pretty much everything else in the map, he did not quickly enough shift into a viable armored alternative. Yeah, I'm actually really kind of nervous right now what's going to happen for... Where is this rocket barrage going? Is it going to the west or is it going to the east? No, it is going right down the center of the map. And we're also going to see another rocket barrage coming in from the Katyushas. Just lofting shots into the center part of the base. Doesn't hit anything. A little bit unfortunate for them. But I think right now, barring a massive swing, which might come with a Jagdtiger, mind you. Ooh, and another Katyusha barrage comes on the center part of this map and is murderously close. And geez, do this Panther Fusiliers have 50 kills or is that 30 kills? I can't tell the difference. And honestly, when they stop running, I'm gonna check that out. And this T-70 at the same time, another T-70. I'm not sure if this is the fourth one, the fifth one on the map recently. But takes another Rakettenwerfer and now again drops Spander back down to just 4 squads, one of which is the Stugatzer. So 7, 13. Yeah, wow, 50 kills on this Panther Fusilier squad. Putting the team on his back. There we go. Here comes the Jagdtiger. Oh, jeez. Oh, no, it was a King Tiger. Excuse me. It's going to be quite painful if the Soviet forces do not realize what's going on in time. We see another lofted shots right down the center part of the map. Hammering quite a bit on the T-34. The T-34 is going to buy it in like 2 shots. Bouncing a shot off that massive part of the KT. Yep, comes in and quickly roasts him. But the stolen Panther strikes do mean that while the Soviet infantry might be a little bit outgunned, they are not outfought. Bravely, as a Bowyer's hunting dogs, we do see the Su-85 charging in, proving itself to be the, but the bitch that it used to be called back in World War II. It's a neat little bit of trivia for you. Is that actually, yeah, that was the nickname for this particular weapon. We're also going to see this King Tiger being forced way the heck back, as well as the main gun getting destroyed. So the thing comes on the map and almost immediately gets taken right back out. We're going to see these conscripts charging in at the same time. They're going to pick up either the Stugatzer. Boom. There we go, that's one. And then maybe this King Tiger? Oh my gosh, this thing could go down, and I think God's that'll be the nail in the coffin for Spander on this particular map. Yep, we just see, again, just hoping for a random chance to take out a couple of models here and there. If nothing else, just kind of completely and totally just driving these guys crazy. And although he does redonate one of his Panther strikes back to German forces, I don't think this T-70 is too much to worry about. In fact, might he be able to pick up? Wait, is he going to be able to pick it up? No, not quite. No, he does. He picks him up, and there's no Panther strike being dropped. So we're going to see this T-70 just charging in to kind of annoy this KT to death. I mean, I'd be amused to see how much experience this is going to get. This is like David and Goliath, except that Goliath has his arms tied behind his back. And there goes instead, there goes an anti-tank grenade. So Spander taking away my fun. We're not going to see the death of this KT just yet, but with only 100 tickets remaining and with a very, very lackluster army. Oh no, here comes the bitch. The Su-85 moves in, and although these Strumpyos are looking to fix things, Su-85 is just kind of ignore all the firepower coming his way. And 50 minutes into the game, we see a fresh squad of troops coming in for Spander, and we hear more rockets coming in, and that's what's going to happen. They're going to start lofting rockets back at the Strumpyos in the back of the base, taking out one model already. And if those rockets drop any shorter, we could see the death of the last Strumpyo squad that he's got. Surprisingly enough, though, we don't see it. We do see the battle group headquarters go down because of the kind administrations of the Su-85. And while the second Katyusha lost its volleys into the back of the base, not going to connect. We actually might see the death of this Su-85, but then again, with as many Soviet forces in the area, might just get lucky and not drop that very, very effective Su-85. It is worth noting, by the way, we are going to see both a T-34 as well as a T-70 coming out for Fortune. I think at this point he's pretty much just looking to kind of like cheese his way out of this. And with a lot of pressure being put on this 5-star Volk squad, forced to run away, probably a good plan. He's also going to drop his mechanized regiment headquarters, which is going to really, really just add insult to injury, leaving Spander with one single tech regiment left. Tech building left. And although the Su-85 is going to get picked up, my guess anyway, one shot, probably one kill at this point. Oh no, he just barely has a sliver of life left. And here comes this T-70 one more time, just kind of annoy people to death. It's quite amusing, and I'm surprised. Okay, come on, use your anti-tank grenade skills, guys. That'd be fun. It'd be really fun, in fact. But instead, here comes the T-70 one more time, just kind of come in and just worry the back armor of that King Tiger. And there we go. We finally do see the anti-tank grenade assault coming in, and does not look to really take off any health whatsoever. And that King Tiger does finally get dropped. I'm going to speed this up at this point because Spander really should just surrender, but I get the feeling he's not going to. So this very, very fearsome Panzer Fusilier squad, 70 kills. 70 kills! Honestly, if this was a historical, it would have taken on almost an entire American company by himself. Unfortunately for him, his charmed life might be about over, as he's going to retreat right back into a burning pit of hell. One model left. One model, will he survive? No, there's got to be another barrage. Nope, not quite. I guess they both fired their loads, let's say, all at once. So this one squad might actually survive. Let's speed this back up again. Not at this point. That's just one kind of invested of seeing. I just want to see whether or not they actually do survive. And when it's as fearsome as this, their attacks, I'm not sure it's going to necessarily happen. $73 kills. 73. I don't think anything in the Russian side is even remotely close to that. 25, 24, 28. Yeah, I've never seen that many kills in a squad before. I'm impressed. Color me impressed. Whatever color impressed might even be, just color me impressed. But at this point, Spander's just playing for pride. He does take out that T-34. Not that that's going to do him a whole lot of good. The Kettenwerfer is going to get dropped in return. And that's where it goes. And we're going to see another rocket barrage on the home base. And we go, finally. And Spander does surrender. So, the final score of 28-306 in a 55-minute game. Fortune takes out Spander, not so much in style, because his vehicle micro could have been just a wee bit better. But you have to admit, that there were some very interesting plays throughout the game. At least we must recognize, though, the MVPs of this particular map. This squad right here, bro. Must have been probably the first Panzer Fusiliers that got called onto the map. Over 75 kills in probably 30 or 40 minutes of gameplay. So just hats off to them. And for the Soviet side, probably the plucky T-70 drivers who just never could seem to get enough. Unfortunately, they never could seem to get enough armor either, and that probably would have been a lot better for them in the long term. Nevertheless, we do see Fortune take out Spander in 55 minutes and 15 seconds. And guys, this has been another installment of Fight Night with Company of Heroes 2. If you have a game you want me to check out, let me know. Leave it in the comments below a link to the game, and I will check it out as soon as possible, recording as much and as quickly as possible for you so you can enjoy more on this channel. A quick bit of administrative material. All the parts of my computer are actually in now too, so be on the lookout for some fresh, new, high-quality videos coming out. But for the time being, you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe below. And for now, this is Con Ulrich signing off. Have a great day, everyone.